Okay, my name is Casey Miller, and this is my persuasive speech, but first I'd like to introduce you to my audience. Okay, so I did my persuasive speech on homelessness in America. Alright, so when you hear of homeless people, what do you think of? Many people think of the commercials that you see on television, and it's usually for the homeless in other countries. But we need to help homeless people in America before we send all of our money off to other nations to help them. We have to help ourselves first. There are many reasons behind those who are homeless and different causes, and there are also different kinds of people who are homeless. So families with children hold 30% of those who are homeless. 39% are children under the age of 18. 13% are war veterans. And the victims of domestic violence hold 15%. 26% are those who suffer from mental illnesses, and 30% from addiction disorders. Alright, so the causes include economic downfall and job troubles. For the first time in almost 3 years, more than half of business leaders cited talent shortages as a cause for not hiring people. The U.S. unemployment rate in February was at 8.9%, and this is translating into 13.7 million homeless and jobless Americans in the United States. And the rate of unemployment as a result of the Great Recession increased to 9.6% in 2012 from the 4.6% that it was at in the year 2007. Should I go back? Home foreclosures is another cause. The real estate foreclosures across North Carolina jumped nearly 20% in May, and 8.7 million U.S. homes entered the foreclosure process from between January 2007 and January 2008. So banks took back roughly 54,844 properties just last month alone. The government is also cutting on federal housing assistance, which gives the homeless fewer places to go when they are on the streets, and they aren't able to afford regularly priced houses, and they're cutting back on the lower costing houses. Drug and alcohol addictions are also a big cause because people go out and spend all of their money on drugs and alcohol and cigarettes, so they don't have the finances and the money to pay for their houses anymore. Mental disorders is a big cause because those who have mental disorders are less likely to be hired by employers. Alright, so the effects. A shorter lifespan is a big effect of those who are homeless and don't have a job. And there is a death rate that is 4 times higher for the homeless people who are living on the street as opposed to those who are living in shelters. Poor health. Lots of homeless people suffer from hypothermia because they don't have proper clothing and they don't have anywhere to stay when the weather turns bad. Malnutrition because they are stuck eating out of garbages and they don't have the good enough food, and they find food wherever they can find it. They don't have a steady meal. And sleep deprivation, which can cause hallucinations and just exhaustion and just living on the streets to die because they don't have any place to stay. And skin disorders is a big effect of the shorter lifespan because they don't have personal hygiene because they don't have a place to get it. Teen and children's stability is a big effect, and it causes them to have emotional, social, and developmental problems, which makes it near to impossible for them to actually focus in school. They also find themselves in jail more often because they are stealing food, and they're also loitering, just hanging around places because they don't have any place else to go. This is a map of homeless in America, and as you see, there's a lot of it more up in the cities and along the coast, like over here in California and up the East Coast. To help these people, we need better employment opportunities. So we need to expand the education and the business training programs to actually help them get into jobs. We need to raise the minimum wage so when they do get jobs, they they're actually making enough money to get them a house and support themselves. And more low-income housing and funding. We need to make sure that they can afford their housing because they are at such bad jobs that the little money that they make needs to be able to get them a house. And there are lots of organizations that you can help donate to. Unfortunately, most of the ones that you see on TV aren't actually for America. They're for other nations like Africa and over in the Middle East. So for conclusion, this is a terrible problem and it's right here in America. We don't need to go to other nations to find it. We need to help the ones here struggling in our own country. We need to really just make sure that we help ourselves before we help anybody else, because how are we able to help anyone else if we can't even help ourselves? Alright, so this is my persuasion speech on homelessness in America. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll show you my audience.